Us is Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar. Ambassador Sajjanhar is a former Indian envoy to Kazakhstan, Sweden and Latvia. Ambassador, welcome to DD India News Hour. What did you make of the Prime Minister's speech to Israel's parliament?
Thank you very much, Ramesh, for having me.
Welcome.
I thought it was a very comprehensive speech. I thought it was very inspiring in terms of the choice of words and what he chose to focus on. It was, sent out a very clear message, a very strong message about the unshakable partnership and friendship between India and Israel, and how there are several issues on which India and Israel, they stand together, they see eye to eye, and on the multitude of issues on which both the countries can cooperate. He did mention also about, first the issue was of terrorism and standing against terrorism for both the countries. And I think what truly stood out for me, Ramesh, in this context was that when the attack had taken place on the 7th of October 2023, the whole world was together in condemning this attack, that it is a terrorist attack, and all terrorism should be condemned without any reservations. But slowly and gradually, that support from Israel started withering away. That started getting diluted because of the manner in which the response by Israel was being carried out, in terms of the number of deaths, number of children who died, the destruction, the violence, etc. And there were very few countries. He was even Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was even taken to the International Court of Justice, declared a war criminal, etc., by countries, important countries like South Africa, Brazil, etc., even from Europe. But India is one country that has steadfastly stood with Israel, and that was the also the statement that the Prime Minister made, and he spoke in very in terms of the message that communicated, very grave voice, very decisive voice, very definitive voice, that India continues to stand. I think that carried a very strong message. About the Abraham Accords also, he was very, very clear, and the need for peace. And he didn't mention the two-state solution, but he did say that peace has to be established, and India will stand with Israel as it seeks just peace and peace with dignity. So these were very, very important issues.
Indeed.
But a whole host of other issues also, he made very significant comments.
Indeed. Ambassador, if you take a step back and look at the relationship as a whole, how would you describe India's ties with Israel? Have they come of age? Have they matured? And are they here to stay?
What I will say, Ramesh, is that the ties are really at a takeoff stage. Meaning I don't want to go back into antiquity, history, etc., but if you look at 1950, when we recognized Israel, that was one stage. 1992, when diplomatic relations were established. 2017, when we had a strategic partnership that was established. I think the last 10 years have really taken the relationship to a very high level. It has, it has been an upward trajectory. The similarity that comes to my mind is the Clinton visit of March 2000 to India, and how that was instrumental in taking the relationship forward. So the 2017 visit by Prime Minister Modi, and after that there have been so many agreements, whether it's in the area of security, it's in the area of defense. Israel has today become the second largest supplier of weaponry. It is a storehouse of innovation. It is a storehouse of science and technology. And that is also coming in the area of agriculture, in the area of water technology, in the area of cybersecurity. There are a whole host of areas where we have been working together. But still, there is so much more to do, because today, if you look at the bilateral trade figures, they came down after 2023 attack. Today, it is, I think, in the close to about $4 billion, which is not at all, commensurate with the potential that both the countries have. We are negotiating an FTA, which I would think that by the end of this year we should be able to complete it. We are also taking our partnership to a special strategic partnership, but raising it to one notch higher. In the area of technology, I think there are so many possibilities. There are some discussions that are going on as far as the whole idea of Sudarshan Chakra and Iron Dome are concerned. So I think the potential, the further possibilities still continue to be there. You're right, it has matured, it has improved. The progress it has registered over the last 10 years, I would say, is more than what it registered, since 1992 or since 1950. But still, there are so many more things to do, particularly, Ramesh, because the world is very uncertain place. World is very unpredictable place. And these two are close partners, and both of them have, through thick and thin, stayed with each other. Even before we had established the diplomatic relations, we had received support even in the 1980s from Israel. Everyone knows about Kargil, everyone knows about Operation Sindoor. But I think there is so much more that we can do and take our partnership forward to new heights.
Indeed, why not? Ambassador Sajjanhar, now, Prime Minister Modi is someone who puts a lot of time, energy and effort into establishing a personal rapport with world leaders. He seems to enjoy a good equation with Prime Minister Netanyahu. How do you read their relationship?
No, you're very right. I think this is something that comes very naturally to Prime Minister Modi, that he sort of connects very well. The chemistry, the bonding, the personal rapport that he's able to establish with world leaders, and we've seen that, whether it is with Mr. Putin or even more recently when President Inácio Lula was here or President Macron was here. So very good equation with all of them, meaning whenever he meets any world leader, he is with him or her 110%, meaning it is even when we had European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Council President Antonio Costa, I think the attention that he gave to them. So he really makes them feel very special. So that is one element. I think the other is that these world leaders are also able to recognize, the leadership that Prime Minister Modi has shown, not only in the context of India domestically as far as its domestic politics is concerned, because such a big country, 1.4 billion people, providing political stability for the last 12 years and still maintaining that level of popularity, I think that is nothing but, absolutely, if it is not remarkable. So they recognize that. And of course, the policy of strategic autonomy and multi-alignment,
Right.
that India is not going to be cowed down by coercion, by pressure. And this has been, seen by the world, whether it was Galwan in against China, or it is more recently with Mr. Trump as far as the weaponization of tariffs is concerned and the slapping of 50% tariffs. So all that and the manner in which, notwithstanding the COVID-19 pandemic and the other challenges that have come, India has continued to grow economically. India has continued to reform, become the fastest growing major economy, become the fourth largest economy, going to become the third largest economy. So the point I'm making is on a totality of
Right.
areas, on a whole host of areas. India has delivered under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. That is what the world is able to see and appreciate and respond to in the manner in which you are now, the images that you are showing of the Israeli parliament.
Ambassador, talk to us a bit now, if you will, about the optics of the visit, especially, in other words, what did you make of the timing of the visit coming as it does in the midst of Iran tensions and the situation in Gaza?
No, absolutely. I think the timing is very crucial. Timing is very critical. And anyone of lesser mettle or lesser courage would have deterred, would have wavered, would have thought twice whether you should be doing it. But I think that is what made even Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu so emotional when he was speaking, when he took the floor and he was introducing Prime Minister Modi. The first few sentences, he was quite emotional. He was finding it difficult to speak, and that is because I think it was a very brave and a very courageous step on the part of Prime Minister Modi to go to Israel at this time, because we need to recognize that Israel and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu particularly has today his back to the wall. He doesn't have very many friends in the world, barring the United States. Even the traditional friends like those from Europe and, of course, from the global South, South Africa, Brazil, even countries like China, Russia, they have been very, very critical of the manner in which the offensive in Gaza and then going across to Hezbollah in Lebanon and so on and so forth, the bombing of Qatar, that those have been carried out. So he doesn't have very many friends in the world. And amidst in this situation, for Prime Minister Modi, the leader of such a important country like India, such an important leader, coming to Israel in the midst of all this uncertainty, when you have the whole issue of the Gaza destruction, U.S.-Iran looming, confrontation and conflict, the threat from Iran of bombing Israel if United States were to take any action against Iran. So under these circumstances, there's so much of uncertainty, but still Prime Minister Modi took this decision of going there because it is he considered it in India's interest that we have to strengthen our partnership, whether it is in the area of security defense, whether it's in the area of AI, quantum computing, it is in the area of science, technology, innovation, meaning these are all areas where Israel has strengths. And of course, these are substantive issues on which in which we need to take the relationship forward. Of course, as far as India is concerned, meaning India could have, Ramesh, even postponed it by some time. India, in my view, finds itself today in a Goldilocks moment, because you have the whole world is really courting and wooing India. We've seen that. Macron coming, Lula coming, the European leadership coming, German Chancellor Merz was here. So I think they have been coming. But as far as Israel is concerned, barring Trump, since October 2023, there is no other world leader who has come. And that is why I think not only was Prime Minister Netanyahu at the airport, but even Mrs. Sarah Netanyahu was also there, which is, a doubly special gesture, if I could call it that way, because, coming of Mr. Netanyahu was special, but the wife, when there is no feminine companion of the visiting dignitary, for at that time for Mrs. Netanyahu to also come to the airport, I think this was a special, extra special gesture of the friendship and respect that they accord to Prime Minister Modi.
Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, pleasure as always to talk to you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ramesh. Likewise, pleasure for me.